Mr. Mustarell, roll call, please.
Ms. Acosta?
Here.
Mr. Bono?
Here.
Mr. Fiocchi?
Here.
Mr. Medio?
Here.
Mr. Rivera?
Here.
Mr. Sobrano?
Present.
Mr. Silva?
Here.
Mr. Holmes?
Present.
Mrs. Cottis-Body?
Present. Present. In compliance with the New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law, commonly referred to as the Sunshine Law, the Vineland Board of Education has caused notice and posting of this meeting to be sent to the following, announcing time, place, agenda, etc. The Daily Journal, SNJ Today, the Press of Atlantic City, Vista Bueno, the Clerk for the City of Vineland, and the Administrative Office Public Bulletin Board. Would our Winslow students please come up for the flag salute?
Thank you.
Mr. Sobrano is going to be bringing you some certificates. My goodness. I will now open the public hearing on nominations for the naming of Vineland High School South Building in honor of a person meeting the criteria of Policy 7250. Speakers will be requested to sign yellow sheets so Mr. Mustarell can be provided with the correct spelling of the name of each speaker. Those speakers will be called in alphabetical order. In the event someone arrived late or for some reason didn't fill out a sheet, he or she will be permitted to speak after the alphabetical list is completed. Speakers will be given 3 minutes to make his or her presentation, including how the nominee meets the criteria under Policy 7250. I will signal when 1 minute remains so that the speaker can wrap up his or her comments. So try to please limit your speaking to approximately 3 minutes. I ask the audience to avoid repetitive comments and request that subsequent speakers only address new points to be made. Speakers may only address nominations submitted prior to the published May 24, 2024 deadline. These include Lieutenant Charles Aselta. Mr. Mustarell, do we have any yellow sheets?
We do. Stephen Mevins.
Okay, my name is Steve Plevins, and I'm here to recommend that the Vineland South building be named after Chicky Aselta. I want to explain myself. First, I was a very close friend of the Aselta family over the years. My aunt was Carl Aselta, Chicky's father, secretary at City Hall, and I worked closely with Nick on community projects here when he was senator, and he was always great with the Vineland community projects. Also, I played sports. I played in 1965. It's a long time ago. I went out for the Vineland football team, and Chicky was on the football team, and he reached out to help us out as much as we possibly could. I also played winter basketball with him, and again, he was the same way. You know, he was always helping the younger guys out, and he was always stopping bullying. I know when he graduated Vineland High, he went to Vineland High, he had good grades, and he went on to Spring Garden Architectural Institute for a year, and then he returned to Vineland. And when he returned, several of his friends went into the service, and I know he felt strongly about defending his country, and he joined the service. Everybody knows what happened after that, the sad situation. But Chicky always had deep respect for Vineland itself, Vineland High School, and his fellow classmates. He always had deep respect. And I think once the school's named after him, it'll be an honor because the students at the school want to know this is the Chicky Aselta School, and they're going to look into who this guy was. And when they look into it, he would be an excellent role model for the children today. Thank you very much.
Nick Aselta.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you once again for the Vineland School Board for entertaining my brother as a possible nominee to be naming VHS 1112. Real quick, I think the important part of this is our family, our heritage here, 5 generations in Vineland. The Aselta and Pasquale family merged after World War II, and my mother married my father, Carl Aselta, a farmer in East Vineland, who went away, volunteered to join World War II, become a bomber crew in the Pacific Theater. Came back, married my mother, and as many of the World War II vets came back, the greatest generation started producing families. He was the first of 3 sons, and he had a tremendous amount of patriotism attached to him because my father truly believed in this country. Our family came here in 1871 in Vineland, 10 years after it was formed. My grandfather, great-grandfather built many of the schools and churches in this community up and down Landis Avenue, the original library, the Historical Society. We were leaders in this community in building it. I stand on their shoulders. As you know, I served on this board. I was part of some real important decision-making issues in the early 90s that led to many of the schools that got constructed here, the properties that were purchased under great scrutiny. Because I think in me, it was instilled just like it was in my brother, the leadership qualities that we learned through our parents, our grandparents, and our great-grandparents. There will be other speakers tonight, but I currently am the vice chairman of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial in Homedale, New Jersey, the only one in the United States. We just embarked in a massive renovation. 25 years ago, it was dedicated by Senator John McCain, and we are now in a $2.5 million renovation, and possibly in 2 weeks another $15 million, in which I've been part of. My legislative career was based and dedicated to my brother. In 1995, when I was sworn in the General Assembly, I dedicated my whole legislative service to serving him, honoring him and his buddies that served, the 1,564 New Jerseyans who died. And with that, I rebuilt the Vineland Veterans Home, which my grandfather built the original, and provided $60 million through a state appropriation to rebuild that. That is the finest one in the state right now. It goes on and on and on. Our family has been here so long and dedicated so much to public service. My father being a police officer, the first detective in Vineland. Public service is not foreign to our family. That's who we are. And by dedicating this school to my brother, you're dedicating that school to an entire history of Vineland. My family brought over hundreds of Italian-American families and sponsored them, my grandfather, over many, many years. Owning a coal plant, owning the only brick and block company in South Jersey, and with that, employing many, many Italian-Americans that wanted a new life here in America, and they came here. This is who we are. This is what we did. And I think the dedication of this building, he was the first graduating class of the 11-12 building at Vineland High. He came here first, but his senior year he finished in 1965 as the first graduating class. I was the 5th graduating class. So I know I don't have much time left, but I know there's a few other speakers that would like to embellish on what I've been saying and talking about, but you would do such a great honor to my family, and I'll leave you with this. My mother at 97 years old told me on the side of her bed, tell our story. And that's what I'm doing tonight. This is for Chicky. This is for our family, the Pasquale and the Celta family. Thank you very much for your consideration.
Joe Griffiths.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming. Thank you for allowing us to speak. Isn't democracy great? A Vietnam veteran can get up in front of a school board and tell them what's on their mind. I did not personally know Charles Carl Aselta, Vietnam veteran, 9th Infantry Division, Purple Heart recipient. My only affiliation with Charles was I was right down the road from him in Vietnam. I came home 4 months after Charles came home in 1968. He came home in a metal casket packed with dry ice. I came home to my family waiting for me at the airport. I've been fortunate enough doing a radio show for 14 years. We have 20 million followers. We're downloaded to 850 radio stations. And in the area, we've named many streets for veterans. We named the VA hospital, which a lot of veterans from Cumberland County, Atlanta County, Cape May County go to, the Michael J. Crescents VA Medical Center, Philadelphia. Michael's the only Medal of Honor recipient from Philadelphia since the Civil War. And his family had a home on 46th Street, 46th and Landis. Same Landis Avenue that runs through Vineland. And we named 46th Street in honor of Michael, along with the VA hospital in Philadelphia. A few years ago, some of you may remember, I was involved with the naming of the Dominic Pilla Middle School on Lincoln Avenue. All Dominic Pilla did at 21, served 2 years in Iraq, a year in Afghanistan. They made a movie, Black Hawk Down. Dominic was one of the 14, 15 Army Rangers that was killed that afternoon. Naming a school for Lieutenant Charles Aselta will mean that 50 years from now, every graduating class, every diploma will have his name of the school that they're graduating from. And somebody may just look at that and say, who is this Aselta? And read his story. All veterans are going to die. Right tomorrow, there's 90 World War II veterans that will be on Normandy Beach for the 80th anniversary tomorrow of the D-Day invasion. The oldest is 107. The youngest is 98. The average age is 103. When we're gone, when I'm gone, when all veterans are gone, the only thing that we can be remembered by is a building named after us or a memorial up. And they're really not buildings. Naming a school for Charles is not putting a name on a building. It's telling a story. It's telling a history story. When you go to Arlington, the 400,000 graves, every headstone is a story about a veteran. And in closing, what does putting a war hero's name on a pile of bricks and a lot of cement do? It does two things. It puts a heartbeat on the building. The building becomes entirely different. The Philadelphia VA people, they have better attendance, better quality of work, because now they're working in a building that has a heartbeat in it. And we can have all the security in the world we want. I guarantee you, as I stand here right now, sometimes, some days, teachers, principals, students will hear a voice in the hallway. That will be Charles in the hallway saying, I will protect this building. Nobody will harm my students. Thank you.
Victoria Loads.
Good evening. Hopefully that walk didn't take away from my time here to address you. Naming a building provides a sense of a story, a human element to an otherwise cold structure. It creates sentimental value and a sense of grandiose that lends to the character of the building and development of the community that it serves. Tonight, I'd like to tell you a story of the name being proposed for Vineland High School's South Building. That name is Charles Chicky Aselta. The story of his name starts in 1871 when the Pasquale family, Chick's great-grandparents, came to Vineland, a mere 10 years after Charles K. Landis founded the city as a utopian colony of opportunity in every way. That family established the first brick and block company in South Jersey on 6th and Cherry. Every brick used to build in South Jersey came from right here in Vineland because of that family. They quite literally built the city. The Reber School, Morris Fells School, our first library, First Trust Bank, our local Methodist church, 2 Presbyterian churches, endless homes and businesses, and the Vineland Veterans Home. From brick and block, they built a lumber yard, a coal bin, and ultimately a hardware store to not only continue building our city, but to also help other Vinelanders build their dreams. The Pasquale's eldest daughter, Catherine, married Carl, a farmer's son. It is a Vineland story after all. We have to have a farmer in there. In 1946. Of course, they built their home of brick and raised 3 boys, Charles, Carl, and Nicholas. Instead of building the city, Carl decided to serve and protect as a Vineland police officer and detective for 17 years. The one person he couldn't protect was his eldest son, Chick. Chicky is a member of the first graduating class at the new Vineland High in 1965 and immediately headed off to college to become an architect. Times were different then. Chicky watched as friend after friend got drafted to fight in Nam. He could have taken advantage of his college deferment, but instead he enlisted and went off to Oklahoma for officer school in 1966. With nothing but endless opportunities ahead, Chick chose to be a leader. He enlisted in the Army, hoping that his service might protect his 2 younger brothers from being drafted. On March 18, 1968, Charles Chicky Aselta, commanding officer in the Northern Forces protecting Saigon, was killed in action in Vietnam. Some stories end there with loss and tragedy, but not this family's story. The Aselta family grew stronger. If their oldest son gave his life to protect America, they were going to commit their lives to creating an America that was worth protecting, starting right here at home in Vineland. Carl ultimately becomes Vineland's Housing and Urban Development Director, securing the funding to build the beacon of our city, Vineland City Hall. Chicky's younger brother, Nick, uses his talent to advocate and fight for the residents of Vineland as a zoning officer, school board member, state assemblyman, and ultimately state senator. Aselta changed the game in so many ways for Vineland, bringing schools, our hospital, economic growth, and much-needed aid to our local nonprofits. He wrote and sponsored the legislation of the New Jersey School Construction Program in 2000, providing the funding to build 4 new schools. Today, we call them Pilla, Sabater, Wallace, and Petway. He was a loud voice in Trenton to find support for nonprofits and helped organizations like the Puerto Rican Festival Committee, Big Brothers Big Sisters, to name a few, by getting their buildings donated at $1 so they could focus on their actual work here in the city. Thanks to Nick, we saw our urban enterprises zones reinstated in 1999. After being dead for 15 years, he brought the program back to Vineland, where hundreds of new businesses would follow and continue to come today. Our city's greatest asset, the electric utility, was protected by Aselta in 2000 when he changed the legislation in the New Jersey Energy Deregulation Bill to allow Vineland to continue generating electricity. Without his efforts, our most valuable utility would have been overregulated out of existence. When it was time for a new hospital, Nick insisted the new hospital be within Vineland city limits and didn't quit until Inspira agreed to put their campus right here where it still sits today and saves lives. What you're all doing tonight is not simply voting to name a building after Charles Chicky Aselta. You are voting to name a school after immigrants, entrepreneurs, builders, police officers, visionaries, war heroes, fathers, sons, milestone graduates, leaders, fighters, and most importantly, resilience. You are naming our county, our school, after the story of Vineland. And as with everything this family and everyone they inspire does, this one's for Chick. Thank you.
I have no other sheets.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the naming of the Vineland High School South Building in honor of Lieutenant Charles Aselta?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Acosta?
Yes.
Mr. Bono?
Yes.
Mr. Fiocchi?
Yes.
Mr. Medio?
Yes.
Mr. Rivera?
Yes.
Mr. Sabrana?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mr. Holmes?
Yes.
Mrs. Cottis-Spotty?
Yes.
It's unanimous.
Congratulations to the Aselta family. Any more? No. Do I have a motion to adjourn this portion of the meeting?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Roll call, Mr. Mustarell.
Ms. Acosta?
Here.
Mr. Bono?
Here.
Mr. Fiocchi?
Here.
Mr. Medio? Mr. Rivera?
Here.
Mr. Sabrana?
Present.
Mr. Silva?
Here.
Mr. Holmes?
Here.
Mrs. Cottis-Spotty?
Present. In compliance with the New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law, commonly referred to as the Sunshine Law, the Vineland Board of Education has caused notice and posting of this meeting to be sent to the following, announcing time, place, agenda, etc. The Daily Journal, S&J Today, the Press of Atlantic City, Vista Bueno, the Clerk of the City of Vineland, and the Administrative Office Public Bulletin Board. Would you all please rise for the flag salute?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have any special presentations? Oh, no, I'm sorry. Do we have a resolution for executive session?
We do. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Education of the City of Vineland School District will convene an executive session for the following reasons as outlined in NJSA 10:4-12. Discussion is about any collective bargaining unit, any matter involving a pending or anticipated litigation or contract negotiation, employee matters, and any matters falling within the attorney-client privilege to the extent the confidentiality is required in order for the attorney to exercise his ethical duties as a lawyer. Motion?
So moved. Second.
Ms. Acosta?
Yes.
Mr. Bono?
Yes.
Mr. Fiocchi?
Yes.
Mr. Medio?
Yes.
Mr. Rivera?
Yes.
Mr. Sobrano?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mr. Holmes?
Yes.
Mrs. Codispoti?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Now, do we have any special presentations?
Yes, we have 3 presentations, so we're going to go take the podium, starting with recognizing the board president's portraits and recognizing their service to our school district. So give us a moment. It gives me great pleasure to recognize former board member Scott English for his service to the Vineland Public Schools and gratitude for his dedication. The students and staff of Vineland have been well served by your devotion to them. Please come up to receive and view your portrait. Let's hear it from Mr. English. Board President 2015 to 2016 and 2019 to 2021.
You know I never shy away from the mic, but first and foremost, yeah, put the timer on. First, to the Aselta family, congratulations on a well-deserved honor. To actually be included tonight in a meeting like this when something like that is voted on. As a former board member, I also know, Meg, you know, that's one of the most, it's like a catch-22. It's such a prestigious honor. It's great to vote on it as a board member, but it also could be extremely stressful because you deal with so many other names that also deserve that honor. So definitely congratulations. A great thing done by the board, as always. VHS will probably be still VHS to many of us, but to have a purpose and a name behind it, or as it was so well put, a heartbeat. Totally love the analogy there. That was really awesome. Just real quick, a couple things. Being a board member, we all know, is a thankless job. We do not get paid. Once a board member, always a board member. It runs through your blood. I truly do miss it, but then as I heard you do the resolution for executive session, I don't miss it as much because I know you're in for a long night, of course. The people sitting out here, of course, be patient. Sometimes you wonder like they're doing nothing back there, but it's truly work that needs to be done. But just on a quick other note, I really didn't have anything prepared to speak tonight, so you don't have to really worry about me going over 10 minutes or anything like that. But when I decided that I wanted to run for the Vineland Board of Education, it was because I had kids in the district. And when you have kids in the district, you have the vested interest. And you want what's best for your kids. But reality hits you real quick when you sit in the chair. You inherited, you might have 2 or 3 kids at home, maybe 5 or 6, but the reality is you gain thousands of children because that's really who you represent. And that's the thing sometimes as board members, we get a bad rap, and I say we because like I said, once a board member, always a board member. We get a little bit of a bad rap because we think maybe we're voting for personal reasons and things like that, but that's public perception and things like that. But the thing to really realize is a decision has to be made, and we are the custodian of the taxpayers' money. So we have to make the decisions that we think are best for our taxpayers, our students, and our staff members. Are they sometimes the most popular decisions? Absolutely not. But unfortunately, there's yes and no's out there. And when it's a yes and you're on the good side of it, hey, you think it's the best vote ever. But when it's that no, yeah, you're going to unfortunately piss people off. And that's just the way that life is sometimes. But the sun comes up the next day and you have to keep pushing. With that being said, some of the best years of my life I spent on this Board of Education getting to know people. And when I said hello to some faces I haven't seen in a couple of years, it wasn't a handshake tonight, it was a hug, because I truly was always treated like family here. When I first started, I knew nothing, but I had a work ethic, and with a work ethic, you get the drive to understand and learn things. Never did I think some 14 years later I was negotiating teacher contracts as a board member. Now I sit as a teacher talking about contracts as a teacher. So your life really does sometimes go full circle. A business owner in town with a plumbing business. Then you become a board member. Your community elects you to go into that title. Now I decided the chance to become a teacher. God, I wanted to bring plumbing to the Vineland Public School District, but it didn't work out. Maybe someday it could happen again. You need help writing the curriculum, I'm the guy. I can do it. You need somebody to teach it, we might have to negotiate that. But right now, I happen to be at a place, Delsey Regional High School, that focuses on the one thing that every board member should always focus on, and that is student and their achievement. That is something that will be here long after any of us will. It's the students. We want to focus on how they achieve, and that's what our vote should always be based on. That personal thing, I always said, check it at the table, and I've been involved in a lot of the personal things. It happens at times. But I guess the most important thing to say is, as I said, I wouldn't talk too long, is really never forget where you came from. And if you can make a difference, as I truly believe I did here, you make a lot of friends along the way. And again, you realize that you did make a difference. And that's the huge thing. Whether it's naming the school after someone, whether it's anybody that's sitting up there with something that's inside, if you can walk away from that chair saying, tonight I made a difference and I made a decision that was best for all the students, not just one or two, all those students, then you did your job as a Board of Education member. With that being said, I think I have nothing left in the tank, and I didn't have anything prepared tonight. But again, thank you for this honor. It's great to see the faces again, and it was a pleasure to be here this evening. Thank you very much.
I wasn't sure if he was going to end, but well done. Thank you, sir, for your service. Next, we would like to recognize Megan Spinelli, Board President from 2022 to 2023, for her service to the Vineland Public Schools and gratitude for her dedication. The students and staff of Vineland have been well served by your devotion. And I have to fix this.
Isn't it 2021? 2 years.
We'll fix the year, and then I gotta fix that. Okay.
I was actually president from 2021 to 2023 for 2 years. Great to see everyone. I miss the people, but I do not miss the shenanigans. I am happy to be on the sidelines watching from a distance. Again, thank you, and it was great to see everyone this evening.
Let's have both of our former board presidents come together just for a quick photo. On this side. It's a mugshot.
Thank you.
Thank you again. Next, I'd like to invite Coach Schiff, Athletic Director. He will present the spring season highlight and celebrate some of our athletes and their accomplishments.
Good evening. Thank you to the Board of Education and Central Administration for having me tonight. The athletics department has put together a slideshow for everyone to view. To the people in attendance tonight, our board members, our central administrators, a lot of this information might not be new to you because your attendance at our events, our games, our ceremonies has been really special this year, and our students see it, our athletes see it. We're really building something special in the athletic department. Okay, this past spring season, we had 10 high school teams that consisted of over 400 athletes. 2 middle school teams, girls track and field and boys track and field, in which we had 75 students. In the bottom left corner of the presentation, have to give a shout out to Sky and Rashawn. They were the prom king and the prom queen. Both are spring athletes for the high school. Okay, one of everyone's favorite events is our college signings. This was new to us, new to the athletic department. We were a little sporadic with it this year. The students want to have all of their friends, all of their family members there with them. So we do it when they want, and a lot of times they have to back out last minute. But next year we're going to try to hold an event for each season in the gym with decorations and refreshments and really make it a fun event for the community. But we have at least one a month. We have one coming up, again, for Rashawn Jeffrey, our prom king. June 11th, we have a signing for him. Okay, I could probably spend the rest of the night speaking about our softball team. On Friday, they will be participating in the state championship for Group 4 public schools. That's the largest schools in the state. Yesterday, we traveled all the way up to Marlboro High School, and we mercy ruled Marlboro on their home field. It's really and you know, I have the list of all-stars on this presentation, but it's really a different player each game. Yesterday, Gianna Pareca and Megan Harrell Alvarez combined for 10 RBI in the game. So someone different always steps up, and if you could see in our collage, they're always smiling. It doesn't matter if it's in the middle of a game or if they're posing for pictures. It's awesome to watch these girls play. So Friday, 3 o'clock up at Ivy Hill Park. It's a little bit of a hike, but we'll be playing for the state championship. I will share the link to stream the game. It's free to stream. Those are pictures from this past Saturday where we hosted the South Jersey Championship game. Okay, moving on to baseball. Our baseball team is successful each year. The highlight this year was we graduated an awesome group of seniors, all of which will be attending college, trade school, or the military. This group won 56 games over their career, and last year they won the Cape Atlantic League title. Okay, our boys tennis team reminds me a lot of our baseball team, where they play a super tough schedule in the regular season that really sets them up for the playoffs. We actually went to Egg Harbor Township and upset that team in round 1 of the playoffs. That's Coach Luciano and Coach Macero. They also do tons of community service under Coach Luciano. Okay, our girls track team, we're the Cumberland County champions again. You'll see Georgina Challo's name a lot. She was one of the standouts on the team, but Coach Hubbard and his group do a great job, and we're the best in Cumberland County each year. Okay, for the boys team, Coach DeShields. This guy's a legend in South Jersey, not just for track and field, but for all of coaching in South Jersey. Thank you, Coach. Too many people to shout out. I'll never remember everyone. But their team was highlighted by Chris Thomas. He placed 3rd in the Cal Championships in the triple jump. And again, Rashawn Jeffrey was a Cal All-Star, the prom king. Okay, for lacrosse. Lacrosse was a sport that was kind of new to me, but it's really enjoyable to watch. Those boys are running up and down the field the entire game nonstop, you know, hitting, crashing. Our All-Stars this year were Gavin Gallo and Jeremy Flores. All their games were at Gatone Stadium this year, and we got the scoreboard up and running for them. And we're just trying to make progress each year. Okay, on to crew. Our girls coach is Carly Farrell. Our boys coach, I'll go to the boys too, that's Paul Myers. And these groups are probably one of our hardest working groups. A lot of their events are Saturdays and Sundays. They have a bus ride every day for practice or for their meets. Cold weather, hot weather, raining, they're out there working hard. So shout out to our boys and girls crew teams. And then golf. Coach Paul Larnigan, it was his first year as golf coach for us. This was the first year the Cumberland County Championships were hosted at Eastland. We used to have to combine with Salem because there weren't enough golfers and golf teams, but I'd like to think that our team, we had great numbers for our boys team, put us over the edge, that we were able to just focus on Cumberland County. And then, of course, it was I don't want to forget Kai Solenberger, freshman, was the highlight of the boys golf team. And then, of course, it was our first year having an all-female golf team with Coach Jim Haig. Just one example of us trying to progress each year and add programs and just do more for the kids each year. This was the Cumberland County tournament at Eastland. Okay, and finally, our middle school boys and girls track team. For the first time ever, we participated in the South Jersey Championships at Ocean City High School. Coach Kay and Coach Alyssa brought their teams down, and then after the event, they went up to the boardwalk to have some pizza and ice cream, and pretty great picture of that group right there. And as many of you know, we hosted a few events over the past week. Our Hall of Fame ceremony was last Thursday. Congratulations to Nick Aselta, Alicia Cox, Dale Jones, Terry Spencer, and our very own Kat Rivera for being inducted. Have a few pictures up there, and it was an awesome event. We had about 200 people in attendance. And then just Monday night, we had our Senior Athletic Awards Banquet. We had about 225 people there. Every senior got a plaque, and each coach awarded an MVP or a coach's award for one senior on their team. As far as I mentioned them at the senior banquet Monday night, but too many achievements really to list them all. First ever female golf team, first ever Pete Adams Memorial Wrestling Tournament. We hosted the Cumberland County and Cape Atlantic League Tennis Tournament for both the boys and the girls. We sent 2 of our athletes to National Women in Sports Day. With your help, we're now providing snacks to our athletes between school and practice every day. I always have to shout out Miss Ashley Sale for starting our social media campaign. The video of our girls clinching the South Jersey Championship on Saturday, the softball girls, has over 8,000 views now on Instagram, I think. Instagram or Facebook, I get them both confused, but Ashley knows the difference. Participate in the Pacheco Parade, National Night Out. Our baseball teams visit the Pigtail League and the Challenger League. Thanksgiving food drives, every weekend our sports teams are contributing to the community. Too many people to thank. Our trainers, our nurses, our secretaries, security, the Board of Ed, Central Administration, our Vineland Public School Administration. Even beyond our secretary, Jen Jimenez, there's secretaries here at the board office that I have to ask questions every day. Kara, Nicole, Marita, Rossini, of course. To put on these events and these ceremonies, there's just countless people, and I'd never be able to thank everybody. And these are some pictures of our athletics team kind of celebrating over the past week. They tell me that me and Rowdy the Rooster look alike, so they made me add that picture. And then you see the South Jersey Championship trophy on the right. But again, thank you. The kids love seeing you at our events. We're going to continue to contribute to social media and just promote these kids as much as we can. Thank you.
Well done, Coach Schiff. Thank you for your leadership and the work that you're putting into continuing our programs. And thank you again to the rest of the athletics department and team, coaches and students and staff who make a difference every day. Thank you, sir. Next, we have Mr. Mustarell, our school business administrator, who's going to present the revised tier times for 24-25. Mr. Mustarell.
Thank you, Mr. Yano. This is the tier times for 24-25. Overall, we recognize the struggles experienced this year with the transportation, delays in students getting to school, getting back to home, while a significant absentee rate coupled with minimal driver substitutes compounds the problem. We're adjusting the school times, which impact transportation times. We are revising times for the preschool program, and there's no change for the Cunningham Academy. Here you'll see the bus arrival time, the current and new for the high school, along with the teacher sign in and out, the number of hours, the start and end time for the schedule for the children, and the bus departure. Bottom line is we are moving back 5 minutes at the high school time. So instead of the buses arriving at 7:05, they'll be arriving at 7 o'clock. Instead of the school opening at 7:33, it'll be opening at 7:28. Middle school, we're also moving back by 5 minutes. Going from 8:10 to 8:05 for bus arrival, start time 8:15 to 8:10. Elementary, we're moving up 10 minutes. So instead of starting the day at 9:10, they'll be starting the day at 9:20. Preschools is our most significant change. So their current schedule is 9:20. The buses arrive at 9:20. The teachers come in at 8:40. They leave at 3:40. It's a 7-hour day. The start time for the program is 9:25. The end time is 3:25, and it's 6 hours for the children. The bus departs at 3:30. The new schedule will be teachers sign in at 7:25 and sign out at 2:25. Still a 7-hour program. The start time will be 8:10 instead of 9:25. The end time will be 2:15 instead of 3:25. And it'll be a 6-hour day still for the children. What that does is it creates opportunity at level 3, tier 3 we call it. So instead of these buses running with the elementary levels, they'll be running with the high school and middle school levels. It opens up spots for bus drivers to fill in when there is absenteeism. The following groups were notified and consulted. Obviously, the Board of Education, UAW, VEA, parent surveys were conducted, preschool staff surveys were conducted, principals were surveyed, and the central administration obviously was on board. We sent out multiple Google form surveys, as I mentioned. Preschool families, there was 485 responses. 50.3% were in favor of the preschool time change. Preschool staff was surveyed, 170 responses. 74.7% were in favor of the preschool change. And then for the overall picture, principals, 5 principals responded, 4 from a survey, and 1 in an email, and 4 of them had positive responses to the tier change. In summary, high school start time is 5 minutes earlier. Middle school start time is 5 minutes earlier. Elementary school start time is 10 minutes later. Again, that creates a 15-minute window to help with tier 3 congestion. There's no change at the Cunningham Academy start time or end time. The preschool has the most significant change in the start times. We're looking to improve route efficiencies for 24-25, and we're optimistic that these changes will improve the transportation services district-wide. Any questions?
I have a comment or question. I guess my main concern is the preschool. I guess it's because we really don't have a lot of drivers to cover a lot of these routes, I'm assuming. I'm just really concerned about our working parents also. I mean, that's a big difference for them.
Understandable. We have champions. They're a before and after school program. They're here till 6 at night. They've been notified as well, so they're ready to accept the challenge of watching the students after school.
I still have a big concern about the preschool. I mean, they're paying for preschool, and then they're paying for the before after-school program also. I'm
They're
trying to be
I'm sorry, they're
devil's
paying for
advocates.
preschool?
Well, no, they're not paying for preschool, but they would be there for a little bit longer, so they may not have to pay for that after-school program if they were there a little bit longer. I'm playing devil's advocate for some of the parents here.
Understandable. If they're in the after-school program, chances are they're going to be in there anyway. That's my guess. No matter what the start and end times
Is
are.
that part of the survey?
No, it wasn't, but they surveyed, do they like the change or not, and more than half, just barely more than half, but more than half did like the change. It gets them to school at an earlier time too, so I think parents respected that. Any other questions? Comments? Okay, thank you.
At this time, we're going to go into executive session. HIB report. Do we have any questions or comments? Seeing none. Approval of minutes. Do we have any questions or comments? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Acosta?
Yes.
Mr. Bono?
Yes.
Mr. Fiocchi?
Yes.
Mr. Medio? Mr. Rivera?
Yes.
Mr. Sobrano?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mr. Holmes?
Yes.
Mrs. Gottesbody?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Committee reports. Mr. Fiocchi?
Good evening. Finance Committee met Tuesday, June 4th at 8 a.m. via Google Meet. In attendance was Mr. Mustarell, Mr. Yano, Ms. Carey, Ms. Gottesbody, Mr. Silva, Mr. Rivera, and myself. Following bids, RFPs, contracts are being renewed: Dental Alliance, Health Insurance Fund, RX Alliance, Benecard, non-health insurance policies, various substitute nursing contracts, Sodexo, and PCS Year 3. RFP for online education services will be awarded to EdgeSeer. RFP Bar C partial roof replacement was awarded to J. Wilhelm Roofing. Following personnel items: administrative contracts, UAW Min-Max, search has started for Director of HR, Executive Director of Special Projects Operations. Substitute security, guard rate increase, and NJ Youth Corps cap stipends. Solicitor RFP, 6 submissions were received. Lastly, we discussed the Verizon grant, state mandate for feminine products, and VEA full release. Thank you.
Mr. Rivera?
I'll go. Yeah.
Mr. Holmes?
Curriculum and instruction met on June 3rd via Google Meet. Mr. Yano, Mr. Marchi, myself, and Mr. Silva were present. We discussed basic skills and instructional coaches, Northeast Precast visit at VHS, High Impact Tutoring Grant Summer Program, June 2024 Administrators Academy. Back to School Extravaganza has been scheduled for August 26th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Gatone Stadium. Curriculum and instruction updates for the 2024-25 school year. Middle school block grading for 24-25 school year as well. Transportation Committee met on Tuesday, June 4th via Google Meet. Present were Mr. Mustarell, Mr. Yano, myself, Mr. Rivera, and Miss Betty Mason. Driver recap: 150 drivers budgeted, 140 route packages drivers needed, 134 filled positions, 19 subs, 2 drivers in training. Average absences in the morning for May is 17.36. Average absences in the afternoon for May is 20.71. Registrations: 22 open registrations, 229 completed in May. Jointures: 1 canceled with Commercial Township. 5 accidents in May, no injuries. Personnel items: we have a diesel mechanic retiring. Position will be posted. Tier times for 24-25 were discussed and will be on. Mr. Mustarell did his presentation today. For the summer, the team is currently collecting student names for the summer programs to route summer transportation. Project graduation driver signups are underway. We have attended group meetings with the City of Vineland. OEM. Preparation for 24-25. Team is meeting at the end of June to discuss orientation, summer trainings, updating driver handbooks, route discussions, driver picks, and vacation picks. Vehicles: we have received 2 buses which have to be returned for driver AC lease purchase. We are shopping for 2 vans lease purchase, and we are shopping for transportation supervisor vehicle district. And that's all.
Any other reports? Seeing none. Mr. Yano?
Okay, thank you.
Any student representation? No. Public comment on agenda items or any other matter, please limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Grace Ann Schwegel. Gladys Borges. I apologize if I mispronounced that.
correct. Borges, that's correct. So, good evening, Board of Education members. My name is Gladys Borges, and I come before you once again concerning the Vineland High School varsity softball coaches, Mr. Michael Reed and Mr. Alex Gomez. And while I'm very proud of the amazing job that our girls, our young ladies, have accomplished this year, and I hope they continue with their winning streak, this does not negate the fact that their coaches need to be removed from their positions. I did misspeak at the last meeting and want to clear that up. It was not Mr. Reed who yelled and screamed at my 16-year-old granddaughter, trying to bully her, intimidate her, and humiliate her. That was Mr. Gomez. Their conduct is not becoming of a coach. They are unethical and are not treating the 6, well now 5 young ladies since my granddaughter left the team, fairly. These young ladies are seasoned players, many of them playing softball for the past 13 years and playing travel ball for the past 9 years. But because they are not on Mr. Reed's and Mr. Gomez's travel team, they are forced to sit the bench, even though many of them are juniors and have put in their time. They should not be sitting the bench. They should not be sitting and letting freshmen and sophomore girls play the time that these girls should be playing. The freshmen and sophomores, our girls have sat their freshman and sophomore year. This is their junior year, and this is their time to play. They should not be playing 1 inning a game. They should not be pinch running and playing 1 inning a game. They should be playing the majority innings of these games, and they are not allowed to do that because of Mr. Gomez and Mr. Reed. That is not acceptable. That is not fair, and it is unethical. So, after my last Board of Education meeting, I reached out to the director, athletic director, Mr. Schifalalio, and he quickly returned my email saying that he had reached out to my son and my granddaughter, and we're having a meeting with them the following week. At that meeting, Mr. Schifalalio assured my son and granddaughter that he would speak to the other girls and their parents, and as of this date, none of them have been questioned. That is also not acceptable. I realize Mr. Schifalalio is new and that he's just acting athletic director until July 1st. That is not acceptable. These girls should not be waiting their turn, waiting to play. They should be playing. So moving forward, I am no longer willing to keep this in-house, as was suggested to me after the last Board of Education meeting. I will be contacting David Frazier, who oversees the New Jersey for the National Federation of High School Association, as well as Derek Sellers, the director of the softball for the NJSIAA, as well as the Division of Gaming Enforcement, and present my evidence to them regarding Mr. Reed's illegal Super Bowl football pool. Yeah, I'm going to finish up. You may silence me here tonight, but I will not be silenced. I'm going to tell you that. So, if you do not believe that Mr. Reed's egregious behavior concerns them, since it apparently does not concern any of you, as I have stated before, the fine for that is $7,500 for a first offense. Okay? It certainly will not look good for the athletic department, nor this Board of Education. I will not let this be swept under the rug. My intentions are to move forward if these coaches are not immediately dismissed from their position. So I have every intention of making sure that my granddaughter's senior year of playing softball, as well as the other seasoned juniors, get that earned playing time on the softball field next year. Thank you.
Mrs. Codispoti, can I suspend policy for a second here, because that can't go unanswered. Mr. Yana, was there an investigation done?
Yes, sir. Thank you for the question. The investigation was completed by Mr. Haynes, who's our current athletic director, and Mr. Schifalalio, with support of our HR department. Students were spoken to, statements were taken, contact was made with NJSIAA, and the...
Be extremely careful. This is discussing personnel in public. You're talking about
apologies.
The accusations were made against employees of the district. What I'm saying is that you can indicate that action was taken, but not the results of that.
My apology. Action was absolutely taken and situation addressed.
Satisfactorily addressed. Okay. And tonight, the girls softball team is practicing for their state final game. And if they weren't practicing up at Seton Hall, several of those girls and the coaches would have been here to answer last month's accusations. So this isn't going to end when this game ends on Friday night. And I'm sure we'll hear from many of the players and the coaches, because these kinds of accusations cannot go unanswered.
Mr. Brosh, Michael Brosh.
Good evening, thank you. I come in peace, Board. I'm here just to ask for some compromise. Recently, I found out at my school, and this is about our 8th grade music students. Recently, I found out that if you attend CC Tech as a musician, you are not afforded the opportunity to go to the Vineland High School band, and that doesn't sit well with me. My son is at the high school. He's a musician, and he's an athlete, and it doesn't affect my family or myself, so this has nothing to do with our family or me personally, but I'm trying to advocate for our students to give them an opportunity to continue their music careers at the high school level. And Mr. Rivera, I do not know you personally, but I know your passion in Vineland is second to none. You're all in. You had mentioned that our district in Vineland is top notch and the best district in the state. And you're spot on with that statement. There's one caveat. We have to run on all cylinders to be the best district in the state. There's one cylinder that's fouled, and that's not allowing our music students to continue their education at the high school. So I'm just asking for compromise. I'm very confident that your team could come up with some solutions, work collaboratively and collectively, cohesively to allow our students to continue their band career. I thank you for your time.
I have no more yellow sheets.
Recommendations?
Okay. Requesting discussion and approval of personnel items 1.1 through 1.5 as noted on our agenda.
Questions or comments? Do I have a motion?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Acosta?
Yes, except to, I abstained on 1.1, subsection, I'm sorry, 1.1A, under transfers, item number 8. And yes to everything else.
Mr. Bono?
Yes.
Mr. Fiocchi?
Yes.
Mr. Medio?
Yes.
Mr. Rivera?
Yes.
Mr. Sobrano?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mr. Holmes?
Yes.
Mrs. Codispoti?
Yes. And before we go any further, we're going to go back to the approval of minutes. Does anybody have any questions or comments? Motion?
So moved.
Second. Roll call.
Ms. Acosta?
Abstain.
Mr. Bono?
Yes.
Mr. Fiocchi?
Yes.
Mr. Medio?
Yes on the combined, abstain on the executive.
Thank you. Mr. Rivera?
Yes.
Mr. Sabrana?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mr. Holmes?
Yes.
Mrs. Cottis-Spotty? Motion carries.
Requesting discussion and approval regarding procedures and operations, items 2.1 through 2.5 as noted on our agenda.
Questions or comments? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Roll call?
Ms. Acosta?
Yes.
Mr. Bono?
Yes.
Mr. Fiocchi?
Yes.
Mr. Medio?
Yes.
Mr. Rivera?
Yes.
Mr. Sabrana?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mr. Holmes?
Yes.
Mrs. Cottis-Spotty? Motion carries.
Requesting discussion and approval regarding buildings and grounds, items 3.1 through 3.4.
Questions or comments? Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Acosta?
Yes.
Mr. Bono?
Yes.
Mr. Fiocchi?
Yes. Abstain on 3.4, yes on everything else.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Medio?
Yes.
Mr. Rivera?
Yes.
Mr. Sabrana?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mr. Holmes?
Yes.
Mrs. Cottis-Spotty? Motion carries.
Okay, so this is a larger group of items. Requesting discussion and approval regarding finance items 4.1 through 4.41.
Questions or comments? Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Acosta?
Yes.
Mr. Bono?
Yes.
Mr. Fiocchi?
I need to abstain on 4.14, 4.24, 4.35, yes on everything else.
Mr. Medio?
Yes.
Mr. Rivera?
Yes.
Mr. Sabrana?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mr. Holmes?
Yes.
Mrs. Cottis-Spotty?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, regular agenda items, none. Proposed items for review or discussion by adoption for board members, none. Do I have a motion, and do I have any questions about the approval of the bills? Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Acosta?
Yes.
Mr. Bono?
Yes.
Mr. Fiocchi?
Yes.
Mr. Medio?
Yes.
Mr. Rivera?
Yes.
Mr. Sabrana?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mr. Holmes?
Yes.
Mrs. Cottis-Spotty? Motion carries.
There are no emergent items, no old business, any new business. Board member and superintendent comments. I'll start with Mr. Fiocchi.
Nothing at this time.
Ms. Acosta?
I just want to congratulate the Aselta family. I also just want to thank all the wonderful teachers in our district as we're rolling very quickly to the finish line, and also just congratulate our seniors. And I just have to say that prom was really beautiful. The students looked amazing, and I was really, really proud of them. So I hope to see everyone at graduation, and we have a meeting, so I will say my goodbyes at that time to our senior students. Thank you.
Mr. Medio?
Yes, I'd like to congratulate not only the Aselta family, but several other Vietnam veterans who died with Chicky at the same time. This is an honor for all of them, many of which I went to school with at the time. On to something that we've talked about that I'm hopeful will not be let go. Mr. Rivera, our ad hoc committee, I'd like to have a meeting the week of the 24th. If we can schedule that with the principals at the intermediate schools and the high school to discuss what we've talked about over the past meetings that we've had and which direction we want to go with discipline at those schools. I'd like to congratulate that girls' softball team on making it to the state finals. Friday will be their last game, one way or another. It's the kind of accomplishment that very rarely happens, and you'll remember it for the rest of your life. That's about it. Thank you.
Mr. Bona.
I'd like to start by congratulating the Aselta family on the naming of the VHS South Building in honor of Nick Aselta's brother, Chicky. I attended on May 3rd the VHS South Gym Career Day, hosted by Mr. Bob Rush and the JAG program, Jobs for American Graduates. It was a great event, well attended by the junior and senior class. On Tuesday, May 14th, we had a CPAC meeting with a lot of the local nonprofits displaying the opportunities for our children within our community, the opportunities that they have for summer activities. It was a well-attended event, and it was our last CPAC meeting for the year. On Tuesday, the 21st, I attended Many's Career Day, and I'd just like to thank the students. They took the time, I believe they're fifth grade students in Mrs. Morvay's class, and they took the time to write some awesome notes and some thank you cards. I just thought it was a well-attended event, and the kids had a lot of great questions, and they were intrigued in all the career opportunities that were there that day. So, great event. On Tuesday, May 21st, or May 30th, I attended a Rossi School play, Beauty and the Beast. My niece happened to be in that play, and it was a phenomenal job held by Rossi School. I'd like to congratulate all the educators, the administrators, everyone involved in that play. It was an awesome event, and it was great to see that back in our schools. I believe since COVID, I don't know if there's any been plays since COVID, but it was a great job. I'd also like to thank everyone involved. On that same evening, I attended the VHS South Hall of Fame dinner. We talked about it this evening. Congratulations to all the inductees. Very well-ran event. I'm glad I attended. My old football coach, Dale Jones, was inducted. So special congratulations and thanks to him. And then lastly, I'd like to just touch on the coaches for the VHS softball team. I coach baseball myself. I've been involved in youth sports my entire life. And I just want to advocate for them. They might have made some mistakes along the way, but when you look at a well-coached team, that's the example you get when you look at our VHS softball team. In baseball, we tell our kids every time the pitcher takes over and starts that windup that they are supposed to be ready and moving. All 9 players on the field are in unison, and it is a well-coached team, whether they're freshmen, sophomore, juniors, or seniors. I'd just like to congratulate them on their accomplishments and wish them the best of luck in the state finals. And that is all I have. Thank you.
Mr. Rivera.
Good evening. I'd like to bring forth a 15-point present. I'm just kidding. Thank you for the Winslow kids that did the flag salute. Congrats on the Aselta family having the VHS South building named after Chicky Aselta. Congrats to Scott and Megan for being recognized tonight. I had the opportunity and the privilege to serve under both their leadership, and I learned a lot under their guidance. Congratulations to all the sports teams, winter and spring, for a successful year. Another reason why I say Vineland is the best district in this state. And of course, I'm going to congratulate, first of all, our softball team. First and foremost, our softball team for getting to the championship. But when they bring the championship, it's going to be even sweeter. So bring that chip back to Vineland, girls. All right? Have a good night. Thank you.
See if I can beat Mr. Rivera on time. Also, congratulations to our flag saluters, the Asalta family. I'm very proud to have worked with Nick Asalta when he was a member of the school board, and he was one of the people who was instrumental in the creation of the position I held for 20 years prior to sitting up here with you folks. A good friend and very staunch supporter of our district and our community. Also, congrats to our great sports teams, especially the softball team. We've won our share of state titles. You can go look at the flags hanging in the gym. It's always a proud moment for anyone who bleeds red and gray like I do. And looking forward to the 146th commencement in a few 10 days or so. One more year and it'll be my 30th as a board member and an employee, and hopefully I'm going to graduate this time for good and not come back. Thank you.
Mr. Silva.
Yes, I'd like to thank the Winslow students for the flag salute. Congratulate the Celta family on renaming VHS after Chicky Celta. Congratulations to the girls softball team. And I really appreciate the display that Mr. Schifalagio did. It really highlighted all of our sports team. And good evening. Good night. I'm sorry. Good night.
Superintendent.
For the sake of time, I have quite a few celebrations, but I will email them out to the community tomorrow, so thank you.
I just want to echo with a lot of what my board members have stated. Thank you to our safety patrol, Scott and Megan. Thank you for everything that you've done. You were a great leader, had great leadership for all of us. Thank you for coming out tonight. There were so many events that we've all attended, from the prom to the cum laudes to the athletic banquet to the Hall of Fame to the plays to the concerts. Our students are wonderful. Our district is fantastic. To the Asalta family, congratulations. This is a well-deserved honor. And Mr. Holmes, I forgot about you. So that's all I have to say.
Nothing at this time.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.